What's up everyone, it's Scotty with Money Vesting. So markets here are very flat, not really going anywhere with the S&P 500 down. The NASDAQ here also pulling back, basically flat on the day, and the Dow Jones here dropping about 0.5%. We failed. We did fail first at that resistance level that we were talking about. So the markets did rebound. I talked about the dead cat bounce yesterday, and of course getting up to that resistance at those moving averages, and then getting a little bit of that sell-off here. So bears really stepping back into the market, and we are once again starting to pull right back down. So hope you guys are doing great. As always, if you enjoyed this video, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We do have the 16% annual discount available till the end of this month, and of course you get access to all the buy and sell alerts, options alerts, trade ideas, all the members only private videos, intrinsic value spreadsheets, and trading view charts, and a lot of other benefits as well. So links are going to be down below if you're interested in joining, and of course getting access to all the benefits. So feel free to join our money vesting community, money vest community now. So this right here, S&P 500 closes lower, weighed by decline in banks and retail shares. So reading further, the broad-based S&P 500 slipped Tuesday as it was unable to build on that momentum seen in the previous session. Investors remain cautious with the 10-year yield notching new highs this week ahead of the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's key speech later this week on Friday, August 25th at 10 a.m. Eastern is when Jerome Powell is going to be talking, and I will be live to cover that as well. And the S&P edged 0.3% lower. We had the NASDAQ pretty much flat, 0.06% higher, and the Dow Jones dropping over 174 points on the day. So this right here was Adam Turnquist, Chief Technical Strategist at AAPL. He says, and I quote, "I think the market is kind of wavering right now as the 10-year yield is hovering right around those October highs, and we're watching for an official breakout on the 10-year. And I think if we start to move higher, that's certainly a warning sign for maybe a little bit deeper pullback in equity markets, as we already know when the markets are going to be vulnerable only when yields continue to push higher. So if the yields push up, it puts a lot of pressure on, of course, equity prices. Risk-free rate continues to move higher, and that's obviously going to lower PE multiples, lower valuations, not to mention the present value of all future cash flows is also going to be a lot lower if yields continue to rise. So we're going to take a look at the yields here in just a minute, while also he says he's not bearish on stocks. He thinks we're in a pullback phase of a bull market, which I very much agree with at the moment as well. And of course, I think we're going to see higher yields bite a little bit. This was Fernandez, firm's chief market strategist. And now that we're going through earnings, it's the macro story that's going to be driving a lot of what we see in the market volatility. And with positive macro stories, a really double-edged sword, because all that does is tell the Fed that their financial conditions are not tight enough. And Meta's threads begins rolling out on the web as Zuckerberg takes more direct aim at Elon Musk's X, which is in other words Twitter as well. So bottom line, we did see a little bit of that, volatility in some sectors, some markets, some potential stocks here, but other ones obviously doing much better. So Nvidia here dropping over 2.7%, AMD pulling back as well. Financials were selling off. We did have healthcare, energy, consumer defensive, cyclicals pulling back, with big tech really just flat or higher, right? So we got Apple, Microsoft, Google, Tesla, all these companies starting to move higher a little bit. Not a whole lot, but definitely pushing higher intraday. So consumer cyclicals, utilities were the big leaders on the day over the last 1 week. We've got most sectors selling off, with only energy that's pushing higher. And of course, in the last 1 month, we got comm services pushing up over 1.22%, and everything here was just straight up down in the last 1 month. This right here, palladium, platinum, copper prices all pushing higher, with orange juice, lumber prices, soybean, lean hogs, natural gas all pulling back, with Bitcoin here now under 26,000 and Ether just hovering over $1,600 as well. So if you come over to crude oil, again, a little bit of that rejection at that resistance. So that right there is the resistance level to watch for crude oil, sitting roughly at $81 to $82 a barrel. We're getting a little bit of that rejection at those prices and seeing it come back down. Support level is going to stay put roughly at $73, $74 per barrel at the moment. And of course, going over to cryptos, Ethereum with yet another breakdown and selling off obviously a little bit over 2.2%, now sitting at 1630, and Bitcoin is now under 26,000. Continues that sell-off even further with an oversold RSI and MACD, but next support is going to be sitting roughly at 25,100 for Bitcoin. So going over to the market, so S&P 500 did see again 2 consecutive days of very nice green days, so Friday and Monday, but then again today we are getting rejected at that 50 simple moving average, something that we did talk about. However, I still do expect this week to be green. So far we are green on the week. We're still up over 41 basis points after the very strong day yesterday, but of course it's all going to come down to Nvidia's earnings tomorrow, and of course Chairman Jerome Powell's speech on Friday. And this right here is where we are with that resistance at those moving averages, and of course up to as much as 44.45, 44.50. So this right here is going to be that level, very, very important level to watch for S&P. And if we can't break out past that level, then there is a possibility that we do see a bigger pullback and maybe even a correction for the S&P 500, a potential retest down to 43.50, and then even a breakdown below that level, potentially coming down to this higher low or that next area of support and that demand sitting roughly at around 4,200 to as low as 4,100. So those right there are going to be some levels to watch. It's a very simple analysis. Most technical analysts and investors and hedge fund guys are going to be watching these resistance and support levels like a hawk over the coming weeks, because that's all the levels that we are going to be watching collectively. So if you break down, possibilities increase for us to see more downside. So bottom line, resistance at those moving averages sitting roughly at 44.50, near-term support in this green rectangle. If you do see a breakdown, then of course it's possible that we see more downside. There's also a potential head and shoulders forming. So this right here is a left shoulder, a potential head, and then maybe a right shoulder in formation right now. If you do get up to that level, get rejected, and then sell right back down, that's going to be that right shoulder, and that head and shoulders, you already know what happens next. Talking a little bit about the NASDAQ here, again, very, very similar. We've got a left shoulder here, a potential head, and then a right shoulder forming. That's going to be that resistance sitting right inside that red circle as that arrow is pointing to those moving averages, and of course a level up to 13,800. So just about 300 points higher than where we're trading right now. And of course support level, very, very strong area of demand, and support sitting right here inside this green rectangle, sitting roughly at 13,270 to 13,300. So about 200 points lower than where the price is trading at the moment. So very, very critical levels. Of course, we did fail just today because bears were overpowering. And of course, we did sell off intraday. There was a pretty significant pullback here. But again, it's all going to come down to Nvidia's earnings, the Fed speech, and again, later this week, whether the bulls have enough momentum to break us out over those moving averages once again. Apple here, on the other hand, with a very nice bounce back higher. However, still a doji candle. So very, very indecisive price action here. So sitting just at 177, that's going to be our resistance level to watch. And that's going to be this red line that you guys see on the chart. Again, it's going to act as both a resistance or a support depending on which side of the trade we are. But right now we are once again getting back higher. RSI oversold, MACD oversold. So we're seeing that momentum back up for Apple, and that right there is going to be that resistance level to watch for the stock. Talking a little bit about Amazon here. Amazon also just consolidating sideways, so not really moving all that much, down about 30 basis points. So resistance is going to stay up at roughly 137, 136. So again, we did fill that entire gap. So support level is going to stay up at a 126 for Amazon moving forward. So this right here is going to be that level to watch. Support here, support here, support here. And of course, that's going to be that next support level to watch for Amazon. Talking about Tesla, so I did a video on Tesla. I did a video on NIO, on Palantir, on SoFi, and what you will notice on Tesla is what? We got rejected, right? We got rejected exactly at that resistance of $240 per share. Like I can't even. People tell me that technical analysis does not work. It's useless. All I'm trying to analyze here is support and resistance levels. That's it. Technical analysis is not to predict the market, but instead look for better risk-reward opportunities and look for the price action itself and where it's getting validated for support and resistance, period. And in this example for Tesla, we talked about this green rectangle being a very strong area of demand. Guess what? Last couple of days, we very nicely get bought up and of course push back up. And then we talked about a resistance. I literally pointed this out in my today's video for Tesla as a resistance at those moving averages, and of course as much as 240. Guess what the high for the day was? $240.82. As soon as we get up to that level, sellers stepped in, bringing us down a little bit over 2.9, almost 3% intraday. So we're definitely selling off, getting rejected at those prices. So a little bit of a pullback. Of course, we still are oversold on the RSI and MACD. So again, it's really going to come down to the bulls, whether we have the momentum to break out once again back over 240, 245 to make our way back up to 260s, 270s. But a lot of that is going to depend on the momentum, the sentiment, the volume, the liquidity, the Nvidia's earnings, and of course, Chairman Jerome Powell's speech as well. Talking about Nvidia platforms here, Nvidia also, guess where it got rejected at, right? It actually ended up making a new all-time high today, 41.87. But then intraday, definitely a lot of sellers stepping up, down over 5%, right? So this right here was a level that we were talking about in one of our previous videos. In fact, I pointed this out in our yesterday's market update. Selling right back down. Support level is going to stay put roughly at 441, down to as low as $403, all the way down to as low as 360s. Advanced micro devices also getting rejected at those moving averages, so not able to break back above those 2150 SMA, all those moving averages here, so getting rejected, and of course back down to $105. If it does end up breaking down below this higher low, so this right here is going to be that support level to watch, and of course in case we break down below that higher low, then it's possible that AMD ends up in the low 80s again, and that's exactly where my fair value is going to be, and I'm going to be very excited to basically buy advanced micro devices at those levels. Talking about PayPal platforms here, PayPal, very, very nice outperformance on the day, pushing up over 2.5%. So very nice move to the upside. RSI, MACD, very, very oversold. So we are seeing a lot of momentum for PayPal once again. And this right here is going to be that resistance level to watch for the company, sitting all the way up to $69.70 per share for PayPal moving forward. Talking about Square, and Square also here pushing higher. So if we come over here, what is going on? So let's see. I don't know what's going on here. Square. All right, there we go. Square up, pushing down a little bit over 2.5%. So very oversold on the RSI and the MACD. This right here is going to be a very nice support, sitting roughly at around $54, $55. So again, that's going to be a nice potential risk reward opportunity for a potential swing trade back higher. And resistance is going to be $59 to as much as $62 per share for block moving forward. So that's going to be a very, very important level of resistance to watch for Square. And of course, support level is going to stay put roughly at around $55 per share. Talking about Meta platforms, and Meta here also getting rejected at that 50 SMA, so a little bit of a pullback, down 79 basis points. Resistance is going to stay put at $300 per share. I've been trimming some Meta shares, and my cash exposure has certainly increased a lot over the last several months here, and support level is going to stay put at 257, 258 for Meta platforms. So that right there is going to be that next target and that next support level to watch for Meta. Talking about Netflix here, Netflix also moving back higher, a little bit up over 1.2%, oversold RSI, oversold MACD. Support level now is going to be turned back into this $410 level for Netflix, but resistance is going to be those moving averages, sitting roughly at 420s, 422. All the way up to as much as 458. I do think the valuation is a little too high for Netflix for my personal liking here. Google here, on the other hand, just consolidating sideways, so not really going anywhere. Up over 0.5%, a little bit under $130. Resistance is going to stay put roughly at 132, with a support level sitting roughly at 127, all the way down to low 100s, 115s, 110s is what I'm going to be watching for a swing trading opportunity on Google, and of course maybe selling some puts down in the low 100s for this company as well. Microsoft, on the other hand, also getting rejected. A very similar story at those moving averages, so we are still in very much of a downtrend, and a lot of the stocks that you'll notice are getting rejected at those resistance levels and at those moving averages. So it's not a surprise sellers are indeed in control right now of this short-term, medium-term pullback. Shopify, on the other hand, also selling off back under $54. Support level is going to be at that 200 SMA, oversold RSI, oversold MACD. So there is going to be potential opportunities for a swing trade in the future. And finally, we come over to Enphase Energy. Enphase continues to underperform, now trading at under $130, hitting a new 52-week low, down over 1.4%, so getting closer and closer to that good deal level. Oversold RSI, of course, with the MACD as well, very, very overblown to the downside. And of course, we are waiting for those good deals in the low 100s. I will be selling some puts here on Enphase very soon. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and a complete update on the markets. The bottom line is that we are going through a time, an environment here in the markets where we are seeing a short-term pullback, we are seeing a little bit of a sell-off, and of course a downtrend, lower highs and lower lows below those moving averages at the moment. But of course, a lot of it is going to depend whether the bulls can carry us forward once again, break us out above those moving averages, and of course, if we have that momentum to regain those moving averages. If we don't, I think it's possible that we do see some more downside. That's exactly what I'm kind of keeping my dry powder ready for, right? Hoarding cash, increasing my cash exposure, so that if and when the markets do actually end up correcting, and we do see a lot of deals for Apple, for Tesla, for Microsoft, for Google, a lot of these companies end up selling off even further, I can come in and swoop those deals, and of course be an aggressive buyer at those prices. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. If you did, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining. Of course, getting access to all the buy and sell alerts, options alerts, trade ideas, everything is going to be included with that 16% annual discount available till the end of this month. And as always, happy investing, and I'll see you all in the next video.